Hello and welcome to the Dutching channel. It's Saturday, 30th of March 2024, and we're at 8:45 in the evening, and that's the finish of today's racing, where there's been 5 meetings at Cork, Haydock, Carlisle, Fairyhouse and Wolverhampton, and the other one that I did work out managed to be abandoned. That was Musselburgh. Newton Abbot was abandoned in the week. I never got round to doing Meydan. I really wanted to, but there was so much racing. We've got 6 meetings tomorrow, and we've got 9 on Monday, so I'm just bashing through all of them. Right, so unfortunately today it was my 5th loss of the month. So let's just put you into the profit and loss sheet, and we'll just do that quickly and then we'll go through everything. Now you can see that what I've added here tonight: Carlisle, Cork, Fairyhouse, Haydock and Wolverhampton. And the overall loss for the day was 154.57. But I'm going to tell you that I felt really upbeat about that loss, because we're going to go through everything anyway. But if you look at the profits over the last 25 days, they're nearly £3,000. So I'm never going to knock a lose. Nobody wants it, but I can take some really good stuff out of that, as you'll see. So we'll get rid of the profit and loss sheet for now. Now we'll go on to the sheet that I normally use. You can see down in the corner here, I'll just move that up, that it's 154.57 the loss. And if we just go across the card from left to right, and then we'll see where we done okay and where we didn't. At Haydock, we staked £350, and we returned there 328.75. So we made a slight loss of 21.25 at Haydock, but nothing really to worry about. Then at Carlisle, we staked £300 there. This wasn't a good meeting for us. We returned 231.79, and we had a loss there of 68.21. So we haven't started very well either. Then we went to Cork in Ireland. We only had 5 races here, so a stake of £250, and returns there were 307.67. So we did sort of fight back with a little bit of profit, 57.67. And then came the worst of all. Now, I had one of these going back a few Saturdays ago, or 2 Saturdays ago, when at Uttoxeter we only had 1 winner. And this was the same today at Fairyhouse. We staked £300. Our winnings there, returns, were £100, but we had a £200 loss. And I know people out there go, oh, just don't do Fairyhouse again. Fairyhouse is 3 days this weekend. So you know that somehow that will turn around into a winning day, because this is how it all happens. And then it was Wolverhampton tonight, and it's our sort of get out of jail card we needed to get here. We staked £300, and we returned 377.22. So it got us in out of trouble, if you know what I mean. No one's happy with losing. But when I go through these races now, you'll see where I mean that it could have been oh so different. We'll start with the Irish meetings, and at Fairyhouse. The first race was a no bet anyway. And of course, in the second race, we have a second, but it was a disappointing second. Odds on favourite, should have been winning blindfolded, and let us down badly, really. Then moving into the 320 there. For me, this was the outsider, and again, there were some big winners today. And Ardera won this race, and again, yeah, you got it, we came second. So that took another £100 away from us. And just those last two races, if those would have won instead of lost, we're already now going to be evens. So sometimes you can have really bad days, and other days you can be really, really unlucky. And this was one of those unlucky days. The 355 Sode Flow. This could have been a selection. There's the next one down. But I'm not going to write home about anything here because we didn't even have the second and third. I'd have put a line through that and said that was a poor picking race. Then in the next one, the 4:30 handicap here, 13 runners went to post. We had the first and the second, but Olympic Man most probably should have held on. But Mousy Brown was my second selection here. And look at the price, 67.5. So this is what I'm saying is how unlucky I have been. It's not every day you pick out a 67.5 winner. So if anyone did follow me in there on the second selection, then well played to you. Then we goes into the 5:05. Ephinoc Fizz, the old timer there, was beaten. And I don't even know how it came back, but it did. And it come and collared my one in the front there of Conyers Hill. All right, it won by 2.5 lengths in the end, but it could have been oh so different. So that's the third seconds that I've had at Fairyhouse today. So I'd count myself very unlucky there. And the last race, this was a poor picking race again. I put a line through that. I couldn't have had any of those. I'm going to be honest with you. And Familiar Dreams won that. That was one of those National Hunt flat races that I shouldn't really touch. Then we moved into Cork. We do the Irish meetings first here. The 1:15, we had a no bet in that. Then in the next race, I did mention this horse because I remember watching this last year and thought, oh, that could be a classic winner at some point. But I don't know if it went down in odds today. It's running in the 1,000 guineas. I did have it at 1 to 100 today, but it went off at 1 to 20. But there was no way it was a betting race for anybody. But just watching it, I wasn't that convinced it was that good a run today. But as I only do figures, it's not really the watching it that I care about. It's the numbers. Then we went into the 2:20 here. Uncle Albert, 5th selection out of 6. Disappointing again. But I did have the second here, which was staying on a little bit, Nika Pika. So again, that's 4 seconds we've had without a winner. And then moving into the 2:55, Independent Expert, 12.5. It paid on the exchanges, but it wasn't no good again. And yeah, you got it. I got the second Scholarship. So now we're up to what, 5 seconds in Ireland. The day could have been oh so different. And then it was time for another big winner. In the 3:30, my third selection here was Easy. Now, if any of you rolled in with that one, that went off at 52.83. So another huge price winner there. And I say these don't come every day. So if you've been on that, so well played to you. Then we moved into the 4:05. That was a no betting race. Then the 4:40, we were on target there at Cork. Stagnite came through late to beat 2 Stars. We had the first and second there, and the SP of the winner went off at 7.64. Then the last race at Cork was a no betting race again. So we had 5 seconds. We had 2 huge price winners, 67.5 and 52.83. These don't come along on a daily basis. So I do feel very unlucky for those Irish meetings. And now we'll go into the English meetings. We started off the day fine. 1:30 at Haydock. Disco Daisy won as it liked. It was slightly odds on, but it was a profit of 41 quid that took us forward. Then in the 2:05 at Haydock, even when I'd done the points here, I thought, I'm sure Brentford Oak would have a chance because I gave that to win last time it ran. But no good at all. I didn't have it. I didn't have the second. So again, line through that. I don't know what went wrong. Then we went into the 240 at Haydock. Secret Tricks. And another one I've got right down the bottom here. And also the second and third I've got next to it. So that's another head scratcher for me. Don't know what went wrong in that race either. Then we move into the 315 at Haydock. Numitor. I thought, thank God we're back into winning ways. The second and third, though, I couldn't give either of those. So I'm lucky that Numitor held on in the end. And then in the 350, it was time for a top selection, which I was very low on those today. And Duke of Deception, Judy won. And I thought, well, that's it now. We're going to move on from here. And then what happens? They did back this off the boards, actually. This was one big bang, and it made everything else go out in price. So I was lucky, really, to get a little bit on it. Not the money back, but it was still not too terrible. But I had nothing around it again. The second, third, and fourth was all down the bottom here. And again, in the 5 o'clock, I thought, yeah, good work, could do something here. No, nothing. Elion, the bottom one there again, the first selection I've got that's one off of the bottom today, and I don't know, it's just another messy meeting. I didn't like Haydock at all. Didn't lose too much money there, but I really didn't like the way that my system wasn't working at this meeting. Then we went to Carlisle, 155, Wise Guy. And someone did put me up to this morning, and it wasn't long after I uploaded it that they said, I don't know if you checked it, but you've put the top selection at the same price as the third selection. And they were right. This should have been 17 to 1, or 17.0, the top selection, which would have meant that I would have got a part of Wise Guy. But I've just done something wrong on the video. Don't know, I must have been thinking of something else. So I ended up with Wise Guy. Chumley finished second, but I just couldn't get that to win. So that was a part money back. Wasn't great. And then moving into, which would be the 230. It was a 3-horse race here. And I made the prices a lot closer than what they are, as you can see. I made Getaway Love just under even money, maybe 10 to 11. And it wins at 10.86. There's only 3 runners. I can't even see how it was that big a price. So that was a nice one to get when you wasn't expecting it. Then the 305, and of course that was a top selection as well at 10.86. Right, then we had a no bet in the 305 at Carlisle. And then I thought, right, 4-horse race, let's see if we can do the same again. No. The only one I didn't back in the race, Jerryville, comes through and wins it. And again, it was a messy race, but Jerryville kept clear, and that was the end of that. And then, of course, I'm getting these selections down the bottom again coming. Gypsy Secret came home in front. Yes, I did have the second Arctic Man, but it was nowhere near it. So that was a good winner, but not for me. Then in the 450, Largy Train, they sort of went off close to joint favourites in the end, really, but Baron Briggs made too many mistakes, and Largy Train just potted round and won it comfortably, really. So that was another winner we had there. And then it was time for another outsider. As I say, I don't know what's gone wrong today on a few of these meetings. And Master Breffini. This one came through and won well at 12.6. But yet again, I had Final Edgar, who threw that race away, I think. And then he tried to come back at the end. So that's me second here. We've had 5 in Ireland. So there's 8 seconds. You can see the day could have been so different. And then in the, oh yeah, I thought, why haven't I filled that in? Yeah, this was the meeting that I'd already filled in. This was Musselburgh, which of course got abandoned about 9 o'clock this morning. Then we moved into Wolverhampton, and I thought, well, I need to get some serious winners here tonight. And we started off with another big winner, Plastic Paddy, third selection. That came in at 22.6. So if anybody rolled in for that one, well done. Then we moved into the 6 o'clock, and again I had a few chances here, and it boiled down to one, Profit Man. Led for a long way and then just drew away at the end. So that was 2 out of 2, and I thought, right, we're going for it now. And then the R6, we didn't have a bet in that anyway. Then we moved on to the 7 o'clock. I felt I was unlucky here as well. But to be honest, I wouldn't have drawn very much because it was my fourth selection with Cock and Bull. But Road to Wembley came through, and it was only 5.32 on the SP there, but I couldn't find it. So that was another loser line through it for me there. And then into the 7:30, Noodle Mission hasn't won for a long time, and I did, as I'm typing them out, I do look and I think, oh yeah, I remember that horse when it had a bit of a run. But that tonight won, and that was a big price of 24.83. Could never have got that. I couldn't have got the second, and I couldn't have got the third, and I couldn't have got the fourth. All down the bottom again. So there's just been a few races today where I've looked at and thought something ain't right. And then 2 races to go, I thought, please just give me a couple of winners to end on, just so it doesn't look too bad on what I've lost. And then Ego East came through, and that one going away, really. So that got me out of a bit more trouble in the 8 o'clock. And then in the last, only had one in the frame here, but again, Burra back went off 130 favourite, but it went off at 4.25 on the exchange. And that duly won as well, but I only had that as my third selection, so it wasn't the full 100 back. But otherwise, as I said, I just felt so unlucky today with 8 seconds overall and some huge price winners that if I backed all my selections at singles, I would have shown a very good profit. And as I say, even in a 3-horse race, you get one at 10.86 coming. But that's about it on the results for tonight. So it's a shame it's a loss. I've only got 1 day left in March. So, and don't forget tonight you've got to put your clocks forward. So I've got less sleep. I've got to get up early again tomorrow. And what I'll do after this I've put out, I'm then going to do the selections like I normally do, just give you the names and stuff, not going to do the exchange prices till tomorrow morning. But we've got 6 meetings, so I will post them with the usual 2 or 3 in each race, just giving you. Otherwise, yeah, we'll catch up tomorrow morning. Otherwise, all right, thanks for watching and sleep well.